Now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S.
The CDC's National Ensemble forecast is predicting deaths will not decline.
The number of cases in the U.S. is nearing 30 million, and the death toll has topped 545,000.
With health officials urging the public to practice social distancing to slow down the outbreak, communities around the country now taking action.
Much of our daily lives have been put on hold this morning. The list of closings and activities being suspended is growing from coast to coast. All Americans now trying to navigate what we're kind of calling a new normal.
Schools from kindergarten to college closing their doors.
My name is Grace Watts. I'm an assistant professor of dance here at Belhaven University, and currently I'm choreographing for the Belhaven University Dance Ensemble's spring dance concert. And I have recently acquired a title for the piece, which I'm calling CONEVID. The piece generally started with working within the protocols of the new COVID normal. Knowing we can't have partnering and that we would be wearing masks, I was thinking about how can I use the mask as a part of what we're doing as the content. When I was thinking about that, I thought about dog mask, and then it led me to this idea of cones and how they're already a mask. And so I just went with it and said, we're gonna be dogs and we're gonna wear cones. And it started with just like this idea of costuming. It is very experiential based, which I think most art is. It comes out of an artist experience. And because of that, realizing, okay, this is commenting on what we're all experiencing as humans, as dancers within this new COVID era. And so looking at that, determining that one dancer does have this cone, does away with it. We have everyone with cones now, and now we have to learn how to live with these cones on. Even from that, feeling very isolated in and of itself, wearing a cone feels in a lot of respects like the isolation and the quarantine that I think we've all been experiencing in some form or fashion as we're now living in COVID land, the new COVID era. And I think that's similar into how we experience maybe even quarantining, say, okay, now I can really isolate and I'm into a bit more introspective and I like it for a short period of time, and then it gets a little bit too much. And I think the piece goes back and forth in those experiences. For my cast members, feeling the struggle of being kind of trapped definitely is there when we are acquiring these masks. And I also think that within the piece you see a need for the cones. There's an itch that one of the dancers has, the cone dog, and it's not until the dog rids themselves of the cone after tearing it off that then the itch starts to spread. And because of that, as it grows gradually, the need for an external source to come in, help the situation. Some would argue that it maybe doesn't help the situation, that the itch is still there. And that's the thing, is I think that once they do get the cone on, it's a relearning how to function together, but individually as well. I think that there's a lot of voices within just the subtleties of the work that maybe aren't necessarily yelling and saying, here's what's right, here's what's wrong, here's what you should believe. And I think that for me, that's what I want it to be, is just like a suggestion of here are things that people are experiencing, whether they're good or bad, we're all experiencing them together. It feels like a social commentary on what I think the population as a whole may be experiencing, whether or not you truly believe you should or shouldn't be wearing a mask. Like, there are these guidelines that you're having to follow. There are very distinct parallels of modern day and within this dog world, but I think it's done so in such a way that there's levity, that we can laugh at it, because I think we just need to laugh a little bit more, especially when maybe a lot of things have been taken away from us.